2 years now, Tanya Bukharina, founder and director of the Crimean Tour Guides Association, and I have been working on a series of videos showcasing the Crimean wine industry. But first, a little history. Between 1985 and 1988, Mikhail Gorbachev imposed a prohibition on wine, vodka, and brandy. Champagne was not even allowed at weddings. In Georgia, Ukraine, and Moldova, the former winemaking republics of the USSR, entire industries were closed and thousands of acres of vineyards were completely destroyed. It was only after the year 2000 that winemaking enjoyed a rebirth. Since 2014, more and more private winemaking companies have been springing up throughout Crimea, mainly in the Sevastopol area, where the soil and climate are considered ideal for winemaking. On July 20th and 21st, Tanya and I visited two amazing private wineries. The first was Yaila Winery in Sevastopol. Yaila comes from the Tatar word for a pasture up in the mountains. This winery is only 8 years old and was founded by Vitaly Marinchuk, a former engineer. He made wine as a hobby for 2 years before starting his company. Arrangements ahead of time to film one of his wine tasting sessions. Yaila, an urban organic winery, is a very small but outstanding producer of only 45,000 bottles per year, but all very high-end wines. The harvest is done by hand by employees and local volunteers. What made this visit so special and exceptional was Vitaly's very relaxed and personal presentation of the wine tasting session. His knowledge is exceptional and his passion and enthusiasm are contagious. We learned a great deal from Vitaly and the other guests who also attended this session.
Я являюсь виноделом, но поскольку у меня нет винодельческого образования, я по образованию инженер-технолог, у меня есть, правда, корни, у меня оба деда делали вино когда-то, но образования винодельческого нет. Поэтому у меня есть сотрудник-технолог, который имеет винодельческое образование, а я уже больше, наверное, как...
1 year ago we tried this wine and just fall in love in it and decided to come from the opposite side of Crimea.
I even cry when I tried this wine. I evaluated it as 5 from 5. Means it's the best one of the best white wines, orange wines. Okay.
The cost for the wine tasting is about $20 US, and this included 5 different wines, local cheeses, and bread. We ended up buying 2 bottles of our favorite varieties for about $15 each. In the larger wineries, there may be between 20 and 50 people on a single tour. But in these private wineries, they are fewer than 12. At Yaila, we were only 4 couples in a small, unadorned room located in an old factory. It isn't called an urban winery for nothing. On July 21st, we visited another private organic winery founded by a former potter, Sergei Beskaravayny, 10 years ago. One welcomed asset of the Belbek Winery is an excellent restaurant on the premises with an outstanding menu and Belbek wine list. Tours of winemaking facilities are customary in most wineries. They include the history of the winery, the variety of grapes used, the entire process from planting the vineyards to the harvesting and processing of the grapes. These wineries are all using state-of-the-art, high-tech machinery to process, cure, bottle, and store the wines. Baalbek produces about 90,000 bottles each year. One of the unique characteristics of these small wineries is the harvest. No machine harvesting here. The grapes are all harvested by hand. We were invited by Vitaly and Sergey to return in the fall to shoot more video of the harvest. This visit was a private wine tasting session led by a young woman from the Urals. As is customary, we tasted 5 varieties of wine during the video shoot and munched on local cheeses and breadsticks.
Да, и у муската тоже есть такая интересная особенность, что, если, может быть, знаете, виноград, он делится на 2 типа. Это вот на технический виноград, который вот на видео можно посмотреть, он такой очень забит, у него такая очень плотная гроздь, маленькие ягодки плотно друг к другу прилегают, и он обычно очень-очень сладкий. То есть, если вот вы возле дороги, там не боятся винодела их сажать, они думают, что все об этом знают, но нет, как правило, не знают.
Regis, what are you drinking?
Aligoté.
From Baalbek Winery.
It's very good from Baalbek Winery.
Алигате – это белое сухое, да, и это одно из наших немногих белых вин, которое проходило бочковую выдержку. То есть это прям такая достаточно необычная история. То есть белые вина не часто закладывают на бочковую выдержку. Можно почувствовать такой вот аромат ванильки, персикового варенья, такое вот что-то такое очень-очень приятненькое, такая легкая бочковая такая сладость тоже может присутствовать. И вот как раз таки аромат ванили.
Частичка добавляется. Да, то есть мне с этим продуктом очень комфортно жить, скажем так. То есть я получаю удовольствие не только от работы, а еще и от того, что это действительно самый правильный, наверное, продукт питания.
You tell him I'm a big fan of Crimean wines and his wine.
стал теперь фаном наших польских вин.
Все.
Back in the fall
Да.
to see the harvest.
Очень
to see
хочется
the harvest.
посмотреть, что
Хорошо. Хорошо.
Спасибо большое. We visited more than half a dozen wineries in the past year and will visit another half dozen before we are finished. I've been amazed at the number and quality of these Crimean wineries, which rival anything in the US, including California, Oregon, and Washington state wines that I have enjoyed over the years. Prior to the US sanctions on Crimea, tourists from around the world discovered these wonderful wineries and wines. Since the sanctions imposed in 2014 and subsequent years, Russians from all over Russia have been discovering these world-class Crimean wines. You won't find these wines being exported. The smaller wineries like Yaila and Baalbek only distribute through high-end specialty stores and in fine dining establishments. The owners focus on quality rather than quantity and exports. I very much enjoyed these visits and learning about wine production. It has also been an amazing experience to discover the beauty and variety of the Crimean landscape.